ice cream truck season.
Oh, yeah. I have one of those too, but he comes later. He plays Christmas music. It's funny.
That's unfortunate.
I know he has like 5 songs and he just cycles through them. He doesn't care that like 3 of them are Christmas songs.
Man, what a like, he's like, I had ice cream. You know the drill. Who cares? Hello and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
And this is the podcast about sharing your weird media finds with your friends who don't know what you're talking about.
That's me.
That's you, Danielle. You should be very excited because I've stepped into your realm today, Danielle.
So not Hyperion, thank goodness.
Not Hyperion.
I really thought you might be bringing it back today. I was not prepared.
Danielle, I want to have a relaxing summer. Not one where I'm stress reading Hyperion and taking notes to get prepared for this podcast. But it is coming. I know it is. I am prepped for it.
You can feel it in your bones.
Oh, yes. I feel the urge, the call of the shrike.
Okay. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Sure. That sounds more like one of the kangaroos from Warriors of Virtue, but I'll take it.
I don't know what. One, I have not watched Warriors of Virtue.
Why not? It's amazing.
Not? I don't know. That's another one that I feel like I've seen, but I don't actually think I've seen.
You definitely have not. If you know, that's a movie you know if you've seen it.
I saw a clip of it and it's lived in my brain rent free.
So good. But no, I have moved into the Disney Channel original movie space again, I guess. We already did, what was it, Crater, which I think technically counts, but I'm going back to the classic DCOM era for the 1999 film Smart House.
Smart House. I should have known this. You asked about this a while ago.
I did.
And I didn't think about it again till now.
I'm not surprised. That's what I count on in this podcast, Danielle. Your inability to remember the tiniest details I send you.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Occasionally we have to ask each other, especially when it comes to Disney Channel original movies, if Danielle has seen them.
This was a minefield, Danielle, and I decided to wade right on into it because I think this is really, like, if there's a DCOM that has my name on it from that era.
Smart House.
It's Smart House, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's accurate.
A couple of fun details. This movie stars the amazing Katie Sagal.
Sure.
You know Katie Sagal. She played Peggy Bundy in Married with Children.
Oh, yeah.
And Leela from Futurama.
Name.
So, you know.
Star-studded cast.
And it has the most amazing director. Guess who?
Christopher Columbus.
No, that's not an amazing director. That's a genocidal director at best.
It's not. Chris Columbus is the name of the guy who did, like, the Home Alone movies.
I know, I'm kidding.
He doesn't go by Christopher for obvious reasons.
Yeah, no kidding.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci, no. The one.
Did he ever direct anything? I don't know.
Probably. This is the incomparable LeVar Burton.
No, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten there.
No.
I had no idea he directed anything ever.
This is my second made-for-TV movie directed by Star Trek The Next Generation cast members, the first being the Librarian movie, the Search
Riker.
for King Solomon's Mine, yes, by Mr. Riker himself, and now Smart House with LeVar Burton, Mr. Geordie LaForge. So, amazing pedigree.
Now we're going to have to get into Data. Didn't Data direct stuff? I'm sure Data did.
Brent Spiner?
Yeah, he did, like, music albums. Surely he directed something along the way.
You mean he actually, like, made music? Like...
Oh, yeah, he has, like, a whole album. It's called Old Yellow Eyes, I think.
That's
and it's, like, Sinatra ballads and stuff.
I mean, I'm not sure I would like it, but it sounds hilarious. I love that.
It's pretty decent. He's not a bad singer.
I'm sure that's not my style of music, is what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I appreciate the humor of Old Yellow Eyes. What a great name. For, like, a very small group of people who would appreciate that.
He was also in a bunch of movies, so we really should bring in something he's in. What are we waiting on?
I mean, Independence Day.
Yeah, but we've seen that.
I know!
And then there's another movie he's in, but that's not really a good one for the podcast. So I don't know. We'll have to find something.
Yes, look up all of his filmography and find
I actually have seen several movies with him in it.
Yeah, so is everyone, Danielle. He's a very prolific actor.
I went out of my way once, though, to, like, watch some of his movies.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to send you a description of this movie, although I think you can probably guess what it's about.
It's about a house that is smart.
Ding, ding, ding. No description needed. I guess we'll just move right now. Here it is.
I mean, to be fair, I kind of remember this existing. Ben Cooper and his family are struggling to get a grip on household chores, school, and work. I assume this is why they get a smart house. So when Ben sees that a smart house is being given away, he enters the competition as often as he can until they eventually win the house, named Pat. Thank you, parentheses. After moving in, Pat's personality begins to radically change and the family starts to resent her. Dun, dun, dun. That's it. That's the whole summary.
Yeah. Couple of things that I want to point out this. This is a summary of lies, mostly. They're not struggling in any way to get a grip on things. And, we'll get into that in detail.
And then, of course, as with all AI houses, they start to take over.
All right. Boy, it gives weight. This is going to be a delve into the psychology of a 13-year-old boy that we did not need in our lives.
Perfect. Love it.
All right. We open in media res, just the cheapest looking like trial version of an editing software credits over a kid throwing newspapers onto like roofs, into sprinklers, just everywhere except where a newspaper you would expect it to go.
Are they just a bad thrower?
I mean, I'm assuming they just do not care one iota.
Okay.
As this kid bikes past one house, throwing the paper into the garden, a robotic voice comes from the house telling him to throw better. And so immediately I'm like, how loud is this house? I mean, is it loud enough for him to hear it from the street? Would a house that could yell at you from several dozen feet off the property be like immediately hated by every neighbor in existence?
Maybe it can figure out its volume, like if it needs to go louder or softer, depending on the situation.
Sure. I'm not saying it doesn't have a volume control, but the fact that it can be loud enough to yell at a kid in the street and does so is not good.
Is already an issue.
Yeah. If you were living next to a house that was constantly yelling into the street at kids or anything that passed, like, throw your newspaper better, like, would you be appreciative for that?
No, but it'd be a little funny. Except that I would be pretty sure the house is going to take us all over and we were going to die.
So that's the thing here. The kid just goes, no problem, lady, whatever. Except then he realizes no one's there. And then a porthole opens to the side of the house. A horrific metal tentacle arm shoots out, wiggles around, then retrieves the newspaper. And I figure if the house can do that, does it really need to, like, accost a child and yell at it to do better if it can have the magic arm just pick up the newspaper? Like, this isn't an issue.
Maybe it's the point of the thing, Sam.
The principle?
Yeah.
It's a robot house. It doesn't have principles.
Apparently, it's a smart house. Maybe it does.
I'm just saying, I think the house is just being lazy.
Because it doesn't want to use its robot arms. What else are those arms used for?
Well, exactly. And it does that. And it'd have to pick up the paper anyway, as we'll soon see. Because no matter where the kid throws it, it's like the house can pick up the paper without the robot arm.
Right. Do you think it uses it to do, like, cutting of the bushes around the house? Can it paint itself? Like, what do the arms do? What's
Danielle,
the point of the arms?
Mostly live in my nightmares.
Okay.
No, the arms are only there when they need them because the CG budget is not good.
What year was this again?
1999.
That's why.
Yeah. So they're used as little as possible. Anyway, the house admonishes the kid saying, I will be monitoring your accuracy from now on.
Or
and
what?
I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what the house can actually do to the kid if it doesn't approve. Is it going to, like, grab him with that horrible tentacle arm and squeeze him to death?
Report him to the newspaper board.
Right? But I swear this is the fastest benign robot to robot apocalypse situation we've had on the show. Like, it's 30 seconds in, we're already in full-blown robot threatening a child.
That is a problem. Why would you even, like, make your robot capable of doing that in the first place?
Ooh, Danielle. Of all the things this house can do, that is the least concerning of the things that this person grants this house the ability to do.
Perfect.
This kid, amazingly, is thoroughly unimpressed. He just goes, whoa, and then rides off. So then we get the title screen. We cut to the inside of the house, where the other side of that porthole opens to deliver the morning paper unrolled and laid flat to a blonde businesswoman. Danielle, how do you think I know she's a businesswoman?
Because she's wearing a power suit.
And
she's got 90s hair.
She's got a tight bun, Danielle. A tight bun. Always got to have a tight bun if you're a businesswoman who's too into business and not enough into men, which we'll get into.
Sometimes you can have, like, the feathery look going.
So she opens the paper and calls out to Miles about how much she loves the amount of publicity they're getting. Boy, let me tell you about Miles. He is the most 80s, 90s person I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
Thinning hair, too long jacket indoors, mug of coffee, leaning on the kitchen island, and the cherry on top, Danielle, Sunglasses. Always sunglasses.
Inside. Always a good idea.
Yeah, in a smart house. Maybe he's where the house is like Minority Report him, will scan his eyes and track him.
I mean, that's a real possibility.
This house does way worse than that, Danielle. We'll find out. He comments that he thinks the reporter just has a crush on her, and that most men do, though she's too blind to see it, which might have been sweet if he wasn't kind of like smarmy. So that's fun.
Is this a teenager?
No, he's Miles, is like the marketing director for the company that Sara works at. So Sara, this lady, is the person who built, designed, and programmed the smart house, which is an amazing thing for a single person to do.
So he's just visiting. They don't live together or anything?
No, he's like the marketing director, and Danielle, give me like another paragraph. We'll get right into this.
Perfect.
Anyway, so she chides him about how she's focused on work and how pleased she is with the house. We learn her name is Sara, and the guy praises the job she did on the house. And so the fact that she did it all by herself is still amazing to me.
Like, she didn't have a team that was working with her?
No, this is her project. She's the single person who built it's like even her company that she works for was not involved in this project. She just did it and said, here you guys go, let's sell this thing.
This is like a pet project of hers?
I don't know. It does not make it clear. We see an executive for 30 seconds later and then never again.
Is she hoping to create more of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, Sara asks Pat, the house, about the temperature, and the house responds the climate control is on target. She asks it a few other things, turn the lights on and off, blah, 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 blah. And the guy says, it's all top notch. Now you just need to sit back and wait for some lucky family to move in and screw it all up.
Yes. Also, I have a question.
Sure.
Is Pat like an acronym for something? Or is
we
it
will
short
get into
for
that.
Patricia?
Yes, there's one named Patricia the house.
I don't know. Some people name their stuff. I named some of my things in my house.
You mean, everything you ever come into contact with.
I like to name things.
Yes. No, we'll get into all of that, Danielle. Have no fear. But I do have a lot of thoughts, which we'll get into later, about this contest to give away a smart house. So wait for that. Cut to a kid straining pasta in a sink. And then he rinses the pasta with sink water. And is that a thing? Because I'm kind of horrified with that idea. Do you rinse your pasta after you strain it?
It probably gets the starch off. I don't know if you're supposed to or not.
But isn't the starch the best part of the pasta?
Well, usually you add some of the pasta water into whatever dish you're cooking, so.
He does not. He just pours it out and then rinses it off with the sink, which I think is weird. But maybe I'm just not a culinary expert like this child is.
I don't, but I'm kind of a lazy chef. I'm pretty good, but I'm a lazy one. So okay. I don't personally rinse off my pasta, but I guess I could see why somebody might, but I don't know what it does to the pasta itself.
I'm just thinking, I think most fine Italian chefs would be horrified by that, that's all I'm saying.
Probably.
So the phone rings, he answers it, takes the message for his dad, and pours the noodles into a casserole dish, already full of noodles. And you have a can of soup, it looks like, and into the oven it goes.
So just soup and noodles.
We'll get into what this is later, and I did not clock what it was. And maybe it's because I'm not Midwest enough, but we'll find out.
Okay. So all that we've seen him put in is noodles and soup, though, to be
That's
clear.
everything I've seen is a can of what I assumed was soup because it was Campbell's, and then noodles.
Like a mushroom soup?
I don't know. I didn't get a good enough look at the can, Danielle.
Okay. There's just not that many soups you put in noodles, so I was curious. As a previous Midwesterner, I was trying to figure out what it could possibly be.
We'll get into it, I promise. He's also working on a laptop, which I'm sure was pretty rad for the 1999.
Yeah.
And he downloads a webpage about Leonardo da Vinci, which I guess is something you would do on a computer in the 90s. I don't know. We never did that. I never downloaded web pages.
DaVinciAllTheWayDown.com.
No, we don't need another one of those, Danielle, please. Keats is enough.
Just should have all of the classic figures.
Do you know how many classical figures there are, Danielle?
Yeah, Hyperion runs through at least half of them.
Yeah, I don't got time for that. So he sets the table for him, his dad, and his sister, then takes the dog for a walk while he picks up his sister, who, and I love this, rollerblades back to their house being pulled by the dog like it's the Iditarod. Perfect movie.
I 100% did that as a kid on my rollerblades with dogs.
It's great. This is the most 90s thing ever. It's amazing. It's oh, they got it. Nailed it into one.
Yeah. It's slightly terrifying, but it's pretty fun.
Did I mention we are literally 3.5 minutes into the movie? I checked. The density of craziness is off the charts.
Is this Ben Cooper, the teenager?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And is he the one struggling to get a grip on his household chores, school, and work? Because he seems like he's got a lot going on in the morning.
Danielle, please. There is so much deep psychological horror in this movie we'll get to, as is usually the case. Anyway, back at home, he gets the food out of the oven and tells his sister to start her homework and agrees to help her with her spelling. He seems to be like just an all-around, like on top of it, super organized kid.
Is this like absentee parents or parent?
We'll get into it, I promise.
Because it feels like that so far.
It is not. It's not any of that. You're miles off.
That's just what it usually is when kids are doing all the work at the beginning.
No. It's way creepier. So his sister also asks him what he's doing on his computer. Specifically, she says, "What are you doing now, computer boy?"
Yeah, computer boy.
Which is great. And apparently he's on the most 90s website entering to win the Smart House. Best part, when he fills out the contest form, he leaves his email and phone blank. He just puts his name and address.
So they have to send it via mail?
I don't know. We'll get into it. Also,
did he have an email? It's 1999. Maybe you just didn't have one.
I don't know, Danielle. I also don't know what kind of people design a form that you can submit that lets you just not add your contact details for a contest winning.
Yeah, I would assume if he's a computer boy, then he probably does have an email.
Yeah, you would assume.
Maybe he didn't want to give out his details. This was before the now where everybody has all of your details all of the time.
No, people were didn't even know about that back then, I'm sure. But apparently he has a long-running habit of entering random internet contests, which that can't be safe, I'm guessing. Some of those gotta be scams.
He's fine. He wins a house. No problem.
He then helps his sister with spelling by just saying random words and having her spell them. So, great. Their dad comes home saying he smells his favorite food, tuna noodle casserole. That's what it was.
I assumed it was. I mean, when you said soup and noodles, I quite literally made that the other day.
Great, Danielle. I'm so glad for you.
I would have immediately assumed soup, can of Campbell's into noodles was probably tuna noodle casserole.
Where's the tuna coming from?
So maybe it was already in there. Maybe it was beneath the noodles.
Maybe. That is the most Midwestern thing you ever said in this podcast.
There's some left over in my fridge if you want some.
Yeah, mail it to me. We'll see how that goes. Nothing can go wrong with tuna being mailed across the country.
It's got spaghetti squash in it, too, in lieu of noodles. It's the...
You're not selling it.
It's the healthy, non-Midwest version.
Anyway, the dad also gives Ben a new helmet, and Ben is all, "You got the account?" And his dad says, "Yes, all 46 stores," for whatever he does. We never learned.
So he wasn't going to get a helmet unless this guy got the account?
I mean, it looked like a helmet. I don't know what it actually was, but I thought it looked like a helmet. I thought he might have been the kid throwing newspapers at the beginning of the movie, but nope, that's just some other random kid.
Okay.
And then the daughter says, "Great, now you can relax and start dating so we can have a new mom."
Oh, no pressure, Dad.
Yeah, and she's 9 or something. Oof.
They're always precocious.
Yeah, cute kid, but boy, this whole family has hilarious issues. None of them are being overwhelmed with housework, by the way, but Ben says, "Why would we want that? We already have a perfect family the way we are." And the dad and sister, there's always room for improvement.
Does Ben need therapy?
Yes.
Aww,
oh my gosh, yes.
That's so sad. We always have, every character needs therapy in our movies.
I put it in my notes later. I've never seen a child in more need of therapy than Ben, or more obvious need of therapy, and completely ignored. Instead, he gets smart house therapy.
Even what's-her-face from the telephone, the call 1-800-LOST-CHILDREN milk carton books.
Whatever happened to Baby Jane or whatever.
That's not what those are, but yes.
Isn't it Jenny or Janie or whatever?
Janie, maybe Janie, and definitely Face of the Milk Carton.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm glad you read those books and finally remember the title.
The whole series, couldn't remember them. Yeah, she needed therapy a lot too. Do you think that she needs therapy more than your character needs therapy? She was kidnapped.
I think Ben has a is more obvious about his need for therapy. She needs therapy, but she does a pretty good job of trying to get along and trying to blend in and acting normal. Until she doesn't. But Ben is full blown, flashing red light, get this kid therapy immediately from day one.
Poor Ben.
So I don't know if he needs more therapy, but it's just the fact that no one has seen him and observed that this is a cry for help is sad.
Does the house decide that he needs therapy and help him out and then starts acting mean to the family? Or does it try to be the mom?
Danielle, come on. We're into all of this and you're not going to guess it.
Okay.
I mean, you are going to guess it because it said it right there in the description, but we're going to get into it. So we cut to the next day or later. I don't know. Time is weird.
Always.
The dad is attempting to do Angie's hair. Angie's the daughter. But he's a guy, so he just can't even make a part straight. Blomp, blomp.
I don't think that's how that works.
It isn't, but 90s. What are you going to do?
I could see maybe I can't braid the hair or something, but like
you can't even do pigtails.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not that hard.
Apparently it is. For this man, his fingers are just too manly to make hair part. The 90s were a wild time.
Girlish trait to be able to part hair with your fingers. It's feminine fingers. If you have masculine fingers, it's just almost impossible.
I swear, Danielle, I can't never get I put my fingers here near my own hair even, and they suddenly become stupid.
Do you do anything with your hair?
It exists on my head, Danielle.
Your hair just kind of does its thing.
Is it a problem?
No, I was just wondering if you'd had any experience trying to man hair.
I mean, I do have clippers and stuff, and I do cut it.
Okay.
What do you want from me?
Just don't think your hair is stylable in any real way.
Oh, it's extremely stylable if I bother to put product or something in it.
Oh, sure. But you don't do that.
No. That's not a matter of me being a man, Danielle. That's because I just don't care.
Have you tried? Maybe your man hands can't do it.
Oh, no, my man hands. I'm getting back this whole time. I couldn't face the truth. Because I'm lazy, Danielle, and lazy is every gender.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm right with you.
Yeah, you're not like Miss Do Her Hair either, so let's not get into a contest.
That's true. Sometimes I put my curl cream in, make it pretty.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll do it up, but not usual.
I just don't think I've ever seen you styled hair, and I've been to several formal events with you, and I don't
How
think I recall that.
How formal are these? I don't think a wedding was that formal that we're at. It was we were a black tie.
I saw you at prom.
Oh yeah, prom, high school. I really was ready for that. Prom.
Was the obligatory guy in the group?
Yeah, right. What am I gonna do about that? I could not have cared less about prom.
Event. Quite literally, the most formal anybody gets in this area.
And yet, I did not care then. Still don't. All right, let's enough about that. The point is, the 90s must 90s, and so we have this unnecessary joke. So Angie's heading to a party, and Ben declines to go along for the ride since he has business. The dad is all, not another contest.
Angie, the sister?
Yeah.
She's 9?
Yeah.
What party is she going to?
I know, one of her friend's birthday party. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. It's fine.
Okay, sure. No, it's just it sounded like a high school party kind of thing. I was like, what? That Ben would be invited to. Why would he be invited to a random birthday party?
He's not invited. The dad was I'm going to drop her off. Do you want to come along for the ride?
Oh, got it. That's confusing.
I mean, I didn't write the movie, Danielle. So that's not another contest. So clearly this kid has a problem and a long history of gambling. He's already a gambling addict.
Yes, that's the problem.
Also, these contests have zero screening set up. You know how they always say you must be 18 to enter? Not for this kid, apparently.
There's not even a little click button yep,
no.
I'm 18.
Nope.
Doesn't say it on the main page. You have to be 18 to do this. Are you sure?
I mean, not that we see. All we see is a big postcard that says, enter the Winna Smart House and put in your name and address and phone number and email. And you don't even need to put in all those things, apparently. So Ben goes back to the computer, enters the house contest again. Apparently you can just submit as many entries as you want, as fast as you want. Just absolutely spam the thing. And what kind of lunatic is running this contest? I know it's the late 90s and, the internet is not the cesspool it is today, but that was still a problem. You still had controls in place or something.
Yeah, you still can only do X amount per day or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. And he estimates that 40% of the entries must be his at this point because of how much he's entered this contest.
Crazy. Be funny if he didn't win.
Yeah, right? And it's not you have to buy a Coke or whatever to enter the contest. And you don't really have to do it for that either, but still, there's no barrier to entry. It's not like you're getting they're getting a promotion or anything out of it. You have to share a link on social media. It's just, hey, enter this contest. Don't tell anyone else about it. In fact, the fewer people you tell, the better your chances are of winning.
Is that really what it says? That's
no, but that's
the complete opposite of the...
Right. Well, but that's the obvious conclusion. If you can enter as many times as you want, the fewer people who have entries in there, the better your odds are of winning.
Right. So with this contest, do we ever get into why they're having this contest?
No.
Okay, that seems glaring.
Yes, in that I think it's a PR stunt, basically.
Mm-hmm. But are they going to follow the family after, do filming, anything like that?
None of that.
What is the point?
Danielle, I have so many thoughts on this contest. When we get to the big reveal, when they pick the winner, I'm going to have so many thoughts on this contest.
Okay. I have thoughts now, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
I mean, let me get into like the resolution of the contest, and then we could actually have a full picture for all our thoughts.
Okay, sounds good.
So back at the smart house, Sarah and Miles are talking about how they're picking the contest winner that night when a rat comes out of a mouse hole that looks like it's straight out of a cartoon, like just a perfect little oval.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah like goes with the rat and goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And it's her pet rat Butler, apparently.
Who goes through the walls?
Just apparently like, "What are you doing out of your cage?" So the rat escaped and is running to the house, and she's like nonplussed by this.
Rats are smart.
They're very smart, but Sarah is not if she just lets her rat all the time. Back with the family, the kids are going to bed, and the dad admonishes Ben for always being online so no one can use the phone.
Oh, those were the days.
90s, yes.
I remember that.
Yeah. And Ben says, "We're all here. Who else do we need to talk to?" And again, he sounds like a weapons-grade clinger.
Ben. He needs friends. Does he have friends?
He has friends, Danielle. But
Do they
he's
not
also
call him?
I'm just saying, if
Is
you
he
had
like MSN chatting or something?
No, that'd make more sense. But like, if your son was saying things to you like that, would you be like, "You need therapy immediately"?
Yes.
Yes. And the fact that everyone's just like, "Nah, that's just Ben," is like, whoa.
It's fine. He's a little too attached to his family. It's no big deal. I'm sure it has nothing to do with his mother leaving or dying or whatever.
Yes. Nothing at all, Danielle.
He's no attachment issues whatsoever. He's going to be fine.
So Ben also forgot to give his dad the message from the call, which was a girl, which was like a date that the dad was being set up on, and it was definitely malicious.
He didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot to tell you." Like a dad like asked him like, "Hey, did I get a message from Melanie?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that was like 8 days ago. I forgot to tell you about it."
Ouch.
So that's like, "Ben, you got to write this stuff down," and that's it. Like that's usually like figure, hey, maybe there's more to this than just Ben being forgetful.
Nope. I mean, his dad has man hands. He can't even, he's not even going to notice his son's, emotional well-being.
I guess he has man eyes and man ears, too, and can't hear cries for help.
It's just a problem overall. When you have man hands, the chance of you being affected by other body parts is very high.
The problem is, the man hands are connected to his man body, and so there's, a giant transfer of, they don't stay there. It spreads.
It gets worse and worse with time.
Like gangrene or something.
Yeah, just keep spreading. It's a real problem.
Boy, I think I'm glad we're past that era of movie, maybe. So back at the smart house, some exec is there to pick the winner and is very pleased with the 8,411 entries they've received.
That is not very many.
Yes, that's it. Which for a free house and allowing for as many entries as you want is astonishingly small. That is nothing.
Did they not market that at all?
No, the fact that they talk about how hey, why are we picking the winner at 10 o'clock at night? And they're like, because we wanted the announcement for the contest to go out in today's paper. And also if it's just that morning's paper, you did not give enough time for this contest to happen.
Oh yeah, there's got to be some deadline that's earlier than 8 p.m. the night before.
Anyway, it's just crazy and badly marketed. I'm not sure why they're doing this contest or why they're building the smart house.
Or why they wouldn't pick it online or pick it while they're being filmed or something for a marketing opportunity.
Drawing. Yeah.
Have it on the news. It seems weird to me.
Well, and given how they actually picked the winner, Danielle, that would have been an amazing photo op.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anyway, obviously this business is terribly run and is destined for failure. And in story terms, it just really exists to give a very loose framework to get a family into this house.
Yeah, clearly.
So little effort. I love it. So Sarah says they should let Pat pick the contest winner. And again, that'd be a great opportunity to have the press there to see the house pick the contest winner. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be very cool. They're really not good at this.
No, they're not. Miles, the PR guy, get on it, dude.
Yeah, no,
take
Miles, the PR guy,
off.
Should probably be fired.
Yeah, Miles, take off your sunglasses. You can see what's wrong with this plan.
Maybe they need to hire a marketing intern.
Or anything, or us. Anyway, the exec is very surprised. Can Pat do that? And Sarah's like, "Oh, yeah, Pat can do anything." And then Pat accesses the contest entries somehow, just immediately has access to them. So I guess Pat is on the internet, and even though it's the 90s internet, this cannot, what could go wrong with that? How is that a good idea?
I think Pat can just access a search, a Google search type of deal.
Everything.
like can attach, like has access to all? Does it plugged into a phone? How does that work, Sam?
I don't know, Danielle.
Is it faster for Pat than normal people?
Yes. Pat just access all the contest entries like through the website somehow magically.
Hacked into it.
Well, or something. Or like it's like War Games where there's no security on any computer in the world. But this is not like 1988. This is 10 years later.
Still wasn't much though.
It was better than that. Anyway, Pat picks the winner as, of course, Ben.
Yay.
And they try to call, but I don't know how they try to call him, so he didn't leave his phone number on any of the cards, it seemed like. So
and it's 10 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock at night.
This is a terrible time to call.
They're calling, but Ben fell asleep at his computer, tying up the line, so all they get is a busy signal.
Crazy.
Which, hilarious. Everything about this contest is terrible. Not a good idea. Like, all right, now I think we can talk about the contest, because it's pretty much, you've heard everything. They'll do a press release later where they, like, announce the winner and everything, but their plan is to take this prototype smart house, right, and give it to a family to live in, I guess, as, like, beta testers / a publicity stunt. But as you so rightly pointed out, they don't do any kind of, like, video diaries or anything like that recording their experience at the smart house. And also, you would never beta test a piece of software this complicated or expensive, as we'll get into, with just some random family. You'd want to have that thing tested. Like, this is something that is extremely dangerous, which we'll find out, and extremely expensive and borderline magical. And you're like, oh yeah, I got this random family running around with no supervision. Like, no, it's a pure disaster waiting to happen when, like, it inevitably kills them or something.
I have a lot of questions about this company and this woman that's making the house.
Yeah?
Just general questions like how, why, when, how do they have jobs? How is this like do they have insurance for this house?
I guarantee they do not. How did she build this entire house? There are only 3 people we see in this company. That executive, which exits stage left here in a moment. We see Sara and we see Miles. There's literally no one else as part of this company in this movie. And maybe that's the whole company. It's just those 3 people building a house.
That's because they can't get any bigger because they don't understand how marketing works.
Or how
beta testing.
How does one lady build a Star Trek level sentient house in the 90s by herself? Bonkers.
Maybe she drove away everybody that was on her team.
No, there's no one on the team yet. It was just her.
Now there is.
Anyway, the next morning, Ben wakes up late. They all rush to get out to school and work on time. But as they're leaving, he asks his dad, hey, did the smart house people call? And they're like, oh, yeah, we want a free house. No, I told you. Get out of here. But considering Ben hasn't logged off his computer, how did he expect them to call him if it was tied up all night with the phone?
He didn't think about it.
No, he's not very bright for a kid who's a genius.
That's usually how those things go.
Anyway, as they run out the door, the phone rings. And Dad's like, no, let the machine get it. You're late for school. So,
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Here's where it gets more bonkers. Oh, I love this. So at school, Ben is getting random congratulations, but then at his locker, he's accosted by the classic 90s bully with spiked hair, demanding the science report.
Yay.
Yeah, so,
A 90s movie isn't complete without a bully.
That's right. And with the spiked hair, it's amazing. In his classroom, all the students applaud for him when he walks in. He is very confused, but a kid then passes him a newspaper, and note, kids do not read newspapers, much less bring them to school to share among the kids. Like, hey guys, he said, good day, you said the headlines I got in my paper? It's cool stuff, man.
Not even in the 90s.
Not ever in the 90s. And there's a whole newspaper story detailing that, hey, they won the smart house. And it is bonkers to publish a newspaper press release, detailing the winners of your smart house with their full names, apparently, without even having spoken to them about them winning and confirming that they're actually real people and not just someone filling out this form for free and putting some spam name in there.
Or some 13-year-old.
Yeah. Bonkers. Like, they published, like, they picked the contest winner at 10 o'clock at night, ran to the paper the next morning, and couldn't even get a hold of the family who they supposedly won. This contest is a sham. It's a disaster.
And it's not like they're on some type of time crunch, because nobody seems to know about this, so they could have just done it the day after.
Yeah, and it's not like the house is going anywhere. It's a house. It's not like, the cruise leaves tomorrow. We had to get them on the cruise because they want a cruise. No one cares.
Crazy.
Bonkers. So then Ben calls his dad from a payphone in the school, because 90s, and his dad is very skeptical, like, no one gives away a house, there's gotta be a catch. So the dad then grabs a copy of the paper to confirm Ben's story, and there's there's a photo of Sara in the paper, and the dad is instantly smitten.
Yeah, of course. I did not see that coming, but I should have.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
You know, I want to give props to this movie. At first, I thought both Sara and Miles were going to be the antagonists, like your classic, evil corporation people. Uh-huh. But, props to the movie. There is no antagonist like evil corporation. It's great.
The house is the antagonist.
The house is the antagonist. Yeah. Which I think that's fun. I'm like, okay, you pulled one over on me, movie. Well done.
Good job, DCOM.
You didn't do every cliche in the book. You only did most of them. So, after seeing the photo, the dad agrees that, they can try out the smart house thing, I guess, and go, see what it's all about. Cut to a press conference on the front lawn of the house where Pat introduces the winners. And then Sara answers some questions, including what Pat stands for, Danielle, which is Personal Applied Technology, which just sucks.
It's dumb.
It's a terrible. You could do so much better than, maybe even Personal Assistant Technology. It would be better than Personal Applied Technology or whatever.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Terrible acronym. I hate it. Anyway.
Have you ever liked one of the acronyms we've had in a movie?
Yeah, I have. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I think I did like a few of them.
Sure you did.
It's hard to remember. There have been so many. But I also think it's also very lazy. Anyway, Sara confirms the house requires no technical experience on the part of the users and learns by observing the occupants.
No, that's gross and scary.
It gets way worse. Get ready for the onboarding process.
No, I don't like it.
So we cut to the family getting scanned in. Literally. Angie's putting her hand on a giant, handprint scanner. Then she feels like a prick on her finger. And Sarah's like, oh no, the house just does that to get a tissue sample of you. Blood and bone and finger prick. And it learns all about your medical history and everything about your whole medical, it does a whole thing where you're Angie, age 9, never had a broken bone. All this from a finger prick somehow, which I don't think that's how that works. But
yeah, that's not at all how finger pricks work. It would have absolutely no bone knowledge at all.
It would be how do you know if your bones are broken from a fingerprint or when you had the measles vaccine or whatever?
I could believe it could do maybe a bone scan and it would know if you broke bones,
Nope.
But from a literal finger prick, a lot of those tests require way more blood than that too. There's no way.
No, but Sarah's like, it's got your whole medical history, it's got your DNA, everything belongs to the house now. It's like, no, get out!
That's so scary.
You don't want the house to have your DNA!
I don't like it.
No, it's just again, I don't find the darkness in movies there. It's just there, Danielle.
This one definitely is there.
This is oh, it's so creepy. The dad, Nick, we find out his name is Nick here, is all isn't that kind of creepy? It's like Big Brother, but Sara assures him, the house doesn't judge you. It just collects all your information, but it doesn't judge you. And that's it. And she's like, that's fine. And we're like, oh yeah, sure, it doesn't judge us. That's fine.
So, all that information's got to go somewhere, I assume.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that'd be a hard sell because you'd be afraid it's going to get stolen.
Yeah, everything here is is in the house. The house is connected to the internet, but it has a whole server control room, which we'll get into in the house. Because internet in the 90s was probably not good enough for cloud technology.
Yeah, no joke.
But also, no thank you. I don't want my house knowing any of these details.
Yeah, but you're already moving in there, so it's too late.
I mean, they haven't committed yet. We'll get into that. They enter the living room, which has screens in the walls. The walls can turn into screens. It's a whole thing. Which, obviously they're green screens, but in the fiction of the house, there are screens. And then one of them turns out to be a tranquil ocean scene. Mm-hmm. But it's just two walls in the corner because when they do the reverse shot of the family, look at the screen, the rest of the house just looks normal. It's just here's a little ocean for 2 corners. And then they move closer. They can actually feel the mist on their faces and their hair blows in the wind. I'm like, what?
It's like a 3D movie theater.
Something. It's these screens are not just screens. It's clearly hologram technology or something, or it gets wilder. And I'm like, this lady, Sara, she invented amazing hologram technology. And her thought is, let me put that into a wall of a house and then make a whole, just sell the technology. You got billions of dollars right there in hologram technology, Sara. What are you building the house for?
You don't know, maybe there's some alternate 90s reality where this stuff already exists out in the world and she's just putting it all to use in this house.
No, they're all flabbergasted by this. In the kitchen, Pat breaks down their diets based on their breath. They're like, oh, you've eaten this, or you have this much cholesterol based on your breath. No, not how it works. And Angie asks for a strawberry smoothie, which she then immediately drops on the floor. But not to worry, Pat has floor absorbers that somehow suck the mess right through the carpeted kitchen.
First off, no. Secondly,
Yeah.
I really want floor suckers.
I mean, they're amazing, and we'll get into how amazing they are later, but like, this is the wild part. This is like, it kind of reminds me of the current AI craze with, language models that are not really AI, but I'm not going to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we're having right now where everyone's like, put AI in everything. And it's like, I feel that that's what Sara did. She has all these great pieces of technology, like floor cleaning magic things for your house and hologram screen walls. And instead of just, making those things great and giving them away or selling them to people, she's like, no, let's cram AI into it and make it worse and dangerous. And if that isn't like the current moment, I don't know what is.
Who knew that this movie would be so relevant so far in the future?
Yeah, like, they knew how bad an idea it was to shove AI into everything then, and like, here we are.
We've known that for a long time.
Yeah, amazing. I hate this whole trend right now. It's terrible. It's awful. Anyway, Nick is like, I guess I'll save me a lot of time cleaning, and they agree to move in on a trial basis, and they always move back to their old house if they want. So, spoiler alert, we never see their old house again. I don't know what happens to it. Maybe the company takes it, like, in trade. Cut to Angie jumping on the bed, singing along to Bewitched C'est La Vie. That song, you know one?
I'm sure I do know it.
Yeah, you do. It's a very 90s song. Music video is playing on the wall behind her while she's singing and dancing along to it. Ben comes in to tell her to keep it down. Angie says that their dad clearly likes Sara, and Ben rejects that since their mom was who he loved. And when Angie points out that their dad could still have a girlfriend, Ben freaks out, like yelling at her about how, does Angie even remember our mother? And she's like, well, kind of. And he like, I won't let her be erased and all that kind of stuff. And is like, just, why do you think I'm killing myself? I didn't go out for basketball so I could keep this family running smoothly so we don't need anyone else.
Okay. Boy needs therapy again.
Yeah. And I've never seen a boy more in need of therapy than this child, and no one seems to think that.
The dad is failing.
Amazingly so. And like the school teachers and counselors and everyone. But we'll get into that. Meanwhile, Nick is seeing Sara out of the house and flirting as hard as he can, like asking for her number in case there are any issues with the house. Luckily, the house already has an address book built in with all the info, so you're not creepy at all.
That's as they're like walking her out. They don't have this whole discussion prior.
There's no hey, here's the user manual. Here's what to do in emergencies. Here's how to operate the house. It's just like, you'll figure it out. And it's perfect. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong.
It's a
with this untested technology we've shoved AI into.
Amazing.
Just the worst company in existence. The next morning, Pat gently wakes up the whole family with customized TV screen walls, like a basketball game buzzer for Ben, and a concert with fireworks for Angie, and a lone rooster on the farm for Nick.
All of those sound like terrible ways to wake up.
And yet, here we are.
I don't want to hear any of those sounds upon waking.
But it's not just the sound. She turns on the wall. It's like a basketball game is playing on the TV, and then a buzzer beater happens.
I still don't like it.
I know. I think it's terrible too. But apparently, according to Pat, who's observed them and knows their every want, this is the perfect thing for each of them.
Okay, I don't want anything that's sudden to wake me up.
And yet that's what this family loves. Nick is all, this is way too early. And she's like, well, your family needs to get up earlier, so you're not rushing to get to school and everything. You know, the kids will never go for it. But the kids pop in, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, loving their new alarm system.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. The hits keep coming with an amazing breakfast prepared by Pat, where the dad threatens to replace Ben as the cook with Pat. So the robots really did take our jobs, Danielle.
Oh, no.
They stopped this child labor from happening, I guess.
Yeah.
But also,
poor Pat. He had, or not poor, what's his name again?
Ben.
Poor Ben. He had so much work.
He did have a lot of work, but he seemed to love doing it, mostly just to keep his family from needing anyone else, like a whole need to be needed kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was a psychological thing, and I think maybe it's better for him if he doesn't have all these tasks and maybe sees a therapist.
Right.
And gets to do kid things.
But how blasé the dad is about looks like you're out of a job, man. You should never have had that job in the first place.
I don't think the dad has much emotional intelligence.
Oh, you think? At school, Ben is bragging about his new house to his friends when the bully comes up and demands that science report, which Ben hands over, written by Pat.
See, that's what AI should be used for.
Yeah, that's fine. Who cares?
For your bully science report.
Yeah, it's all fine. The bully leaves, and then gasp, a girl walks up to Ben. The girl's name is Gwen.
Who was not interested in him before this.
Yeah, ooh, this is the thing, Danielle. Ben is all stammers, and Gwen is all like, Angela said that it'd be cool if we could see your house, and we get invited over sometime. I said, why don't you ask him? She's like, why don't you ask him? So here I am, like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And so it's basically, she's like, hey, we'd like to come check out your cool new house. And he's like, sure, anytime. And his friends are like flabbergasted that the quote unquote goddess of the 8th grade talked to him.
Crazy.
Anyway, so, Ben's social cachet has climbed tremendously.
Apparently. That's what you get when you win a smart house.
Look, I have built smart devices, and no one's ever come up to me, like, no girl come to me and say, hey, invite me over so I can look at your cool, custom home assistant setup.
But did you do it in late middle school, early high school?
I mean, no.
Did you win a whole house?
No.
Well, then, I don't know what to tell you, Sam.
Life's not fair is what I'm getting at here, Danielle.
It's less impressive later on in life.
I'm still impressive, Danielle.
I think you're amazing.
All right, let's move on. This is getting sad. Meanwhile, Pat is torturing the family dog by showing a bouncing tennis ball on the wall screen that the dog will never be able to catch.
Sad.
Nick is working from home, and Pat is plugged right into his warehouse data, so he no longer has to commute to work. She's much more efficient than the work computers he used.
That's good, I suppose.
So apparently she just has access to any arbitrary data or computer in the world.
Just plug her in, let her go.
Do you think the government would be concerned about a house-based supercomputer that can get into any system on the whole world? But apparently the government's like, yeah, it's probably fine. Let that contest handle it.
Maybe you had to put it in password.
Nope. Because he is surprised that she actually accesses the warehouse data.
Maybe there's just no security at anything.
We'll get to that, I promise, because there isn't. The afternoon, after school, the kids ask for smoothies, and a little port in the counter that opens up to deliver them starts freaking out, and Pat yells about a malfunction, shooting oranges at them at alarming speed.
It didn't even last a day.
Nope.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. Anyone ever made a piece of software or hardware release it to get people to test? They break it immediately.
Yeah, you think she would have, the lady who made it, you think she would have lived there a while and
Sara?
figured this out. Yeah.
Right. No, it seems like she barely finished it in time to give it away in the contest.
It's insane.
So it stops eventually, and Pat indicates that due to technical failures, no more smoothies.
Oh, it's sad.
So Nick's like, we gotta call Sara and see if she can fix this thing. And Ben's like, oh, that's not necessary. It's just smoothies. Who needs smoothies? And dude, your house just attacked you with fruit. You need Sara, which the dad points out. But, Ben, he's like, keep Sara away from my dad kind of thing. So we cut to Sara sitting in the control room, which is just a bunch of switches and then screens just showing random pictures on a slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Ben walks by, is clearly very interested, but then quickly leaves, declining Sara's invitation for a tour. He's trying to keep his distance from her.
Ben is?
Yeah. He's being very cold. He doesn't want to actually start to like her or anything,
Yeah, that'd be terrible. He doesn't want a new mom.
Yep. So Sara joins them for a Cape Cod themed dinner. Apparently Pat does themed dinners like a chuck wagon night the day before or something.
I mean, that's great, but
yeah.
How does so the smoothie function obviously stopped working, but it seems like there was a bigger issue at play. Does that not affect any of the other
Apparently
cooking?
not. And apparently Sara fixed it.
Smoothies are a separate function.
Danielle, where does Pat get the materials to make smoothies?
I'd assume they have some kind of storehouse in the basement or something.
And I don't know. Maybe it's like Blast from the Past where they have a giant bunker underground, but it makes no sense to me.
Maybe there's a field of strawberries underneath.
I don't know how it worked, how she managed to make anything. We don't see her use her manipulator, terrible tentacle arms again, at least not for a while. So it's just magic. The stuff is made by magic, basically.
I mean, that's pretty great.
Also, in case it wasn't clear, the voice of the house is Katie Sagal.
Right, I figured.
Yeah, just making that clear. I mentioned her, I'm sure we know where she came in. Anyway, Cape Cod theme night, absolutely bonkers. Sara apparently fixed Pat, I guess. Easy peasy, just a simple bug. Maybe she caught an off by one error. I don't know.
They were not that concerned about it.
No.
Okay, sure.
Ben asks Sara if Pat follows him into the bathroom. So Ben asks Sara, if Pat is always watching me and learning, does she follow me everywhere, including the bathroom? Which I think is a big concern for teenage boys, for obvious reasons.
I also think that's just a valid question. Or
you're
living at a camera house. Where do the cameras stretch through your house? Are there any places the camera isn't?
So Sara assures them that there's no invasion of privacy. She's programmed Pat to be very discreet, which does not answer the question.
Yeah.
Discreet doesn't mean not watching you.
Yeah, and I would assume like they're like the bedrooms probably aren't off limits and you change in your bedroom or want to do stuff in your bedroom. It's weird.
I mean, I hate having a voice assistant connected to like, Amazon or Google or Apple or whatever, because that's just like, it's always listening, but imagine having those always watching too. Like,
yeah.
And like monitoring your biometrics and your body chemistry by your breath or something.
Yeah.
And has your DNA on file. I was like,
What if you were having like, relationships or something in your bed? Well, it's a G term for that.
It is a decon, Danielle. Thank you.
You're welcome. In your bedroom, like, I don't know, I want my house party to that.
Well, and does your house observe be like, that's what he's into. Let me help him out by getting him more, like ordering him something off Amazon that'll assist him in the bedroom.
Or is confused by certain things? Do they ask questions?
No, the house is very presumptuous. As we see, it takes a lot of matters into its own hand to like preemptively make them their favorite foods or like get them certain like clothing, like lay out their clothes for the next day based on what they should pick, what they thought, like the house thought they were going to pick.
I don't think I like that.
No, imagine your house doing that for like, here's like a box of condoms I placed next to your bed because I know this is Thursday night or whatever. Like, no house, bad house, no thank you.
Or you seem particularly interested in this maneuver. I have taken the liberty of ordering you some sex toys.
Or like, here's a pamphlet that will help you learn how to pull that off and stretch beforehand because you looked like you were moving a little slower last night, so here's a way to loosen up.
Yeah, no thank you.
I mean, I know it's, funny because it's sex, but also like, I don't want a house doing that for me just like walking around in my day-to-day life. Like, your bowel movement was a little slow today, so maybe you could have some more fiber.
Crazy.
Anyway, despite Nick's attempt to invite Sara out for ice cream with them after dinner, Ben sabotaged it with an angry outburst. Like, no, she should go. We're done here or whatever.
She's not
like
my
that.
mom.
Basically. And Sara says, it's okay. She has to go feed her rat anyway. A rat named Butler. Rat Butler. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
The kids in the movie do not get it.
Well, yeah. Why would they?
Anyway. So Ben storms off. Angie says it's hormones, that Ben hates every girl that their dad starts to like. And Nick is all like flustered and like tells her, go do your homework. Womp womp kids. While tucking her in, Angie spills the beans to Nick on Ben and his obsession with making their family perfect so their dad won't have any reason to date. And I think Ben needs to learn a few things about dating.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like he understands some of the purpose.
Yeah. So Nick goes to Ben's room to have a talk and starts by apologizing if he relied on Ben too much. He wants Ben to go out for the basketball team, for instance, be a kid. And Ben is all, it's fine. We have Pat now. And she's more motherly than all the moms of this block combined. Which, red flag, red flag.
Nope. Dad has man hands.
Man hands, man brain, man hands.
Spreading.
It must be treated. It's terminal. So Ben wakes up in the middle of the night and sneaks out into the hall where he disassembles and bypasses the keypad to get into the control room, which...
Wouldn't the house notice he was doing that?
You would think. And do you think they might have a keypad or security lock that wouldn't be defeated by simply taking the keypad off a wall by a 13-year-old?
But also, wouldn't the house notice it?
You would think. Neither of those things are true. Apparently the security of this house is non-existent.
How does it watch them constantly but not realize that it's trying to get into to the locked room?
So then Ben, in the control room, starts hacking on Pat, deleting her quote-unquote safety protocols, which, why is that an option? Why can you do that? Why is that something that's like, here are these safety protocols. They are a separate thing, and I'll make them deletable.
Actually, and the crazy thing is that with the safety protocols, she still yelled at that kid about the newspapers.
Yeah. So, like, what kind of horror show are we in store for here? Also, this is clearly just a Star Trek episode with a holodeck, and the fact that LeVar Burton has directed it is perfect. Second, this is the worst security I've ever seen on anything in the world, and I mean, despite Sarah's genius inventions, she needs to be stopped.
That's why you're supposed to work with a team, so they see the flaws that you don't.
You would think. Anyway, Ben attempts to reprogram Pat by having her watch a marathon of mom-based sitcoms like Mother Knows Best, My Three Moms, Make Room for Mama, and Noah's Matriarch.
I definitely thought he was going to make her watch like old home videos of his mom.
She does that anyway, Danielle. We'll get into it.
No.
And I don't know if like all of those are real, but I certainly hope they are, because Noah's matriarch sounds amazing. I don't know what it is, but it sounds hilarious.
Should Google it.
Nah, I'm more happy with what's in my head than what I'd probably find out on the internet. Pat absorbs and trains herself on those sitcoms. And this is why teenagers should not be allowed to reprogram AI, because this is what they think moms should be.
It's crazy. Was there like no security to get into the system in the first place?
Apparently not. Apparently it was a keypad on a door that you can easily bypass, and then a system so open a 13-year-old, not like a computer genius like Lexi from Jurassic Park, could just get in.
It's wild.
You didn't even say this is Unix. I know this.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Love Jurassic Park.
Great movie. Makes more sense. Security, like their security is terrible, but it's better than this, because at least they have like an attempt at security.
They just didn't think the dinosaurs were going to get around their security features.
Or that, one of their disgruntled employees would sabotage all their security features.
Exactly. Like they had security. It just was, the person in charge of it happened to destroy it.
Yeah, exactly. Again, not why security should be just one person, The next morning, Pat starts behaving oddly, like telling Angie to brush her teeth properly and take a jacket when she leaves, even though it's warm out. On the ride to school, Nick mentions how he's noticed how much more paternal Pat is, but Ben just brushes it off.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want anybody to know that he hacked into the system by hacking. He just pushed buttons.
Easily. And told her to watch a bunch of TV shows to reprogram an AI, which is not how that should work.
I don't think I'd want my mother figure to be like based on mothers
sitcom
and TV
families?
shows. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea.
This is why I said this child should not be in charge of what a mother programming should be. So then Nick also gives Ben some advice on his bully when Ben accidentally mentions him. The advice being, finally stand up to him, which is, as we'll see, terrible advice. Because we cut to after school, Ben is nursing a shiner while Nick laments his bad advice, and Pat has an extremely visceral reaction, like how she has to punish this bully or march onto that school and give them a piece of her mind.
That'd be pretty funny. He's got to pass the house some point, right? What if you were a terrible 13-year-old and you brought your school bully to your house knowing that your house would murder him?
It is wilder than that, Danielle, I promise. Ben goes to his room to watch home videos of his mom on Pat's wall. How did Pat get those videos uploaded to her mainframe? I don't know, but she's got them all inside of her now. They all belong to Pat.
Maybe he downloaded them when he did the others.
Anyway, it's horrifying, but now Pat is watching those videos and observing how sad they make Ben. So, she's learning.
Did the mom pass away or leave?
Yeah, she's dead. We don't know. I don't know any details, but she's definitely dead.
Okay.
That night, Nick calls Sara on the video phone wall thing. And Sara also has a video phone wall somehow because the video call, I guess she built herself a smart wall just for funsies.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, obviously. I don't know why I would bother anything else. Why build the house with the AI when you have the smart wall? Anyway, she's trying to balance her checkbook. That's a big plot point. It's not, but it's how they flirt. They flirt about balancing checkbooks, and it's terrible.
You think she'd have billions of dollars by now? She wouldn't have to balance her checkbook.
Nope, it's out of balance. So Nick stumbles towards asking her out, and Sara agrees. And they talk about the kids and how much being a teenager sucks. And when Nick says he wishes Ben had more fun in his life, Pat looks up the word fun and loads up things like concert and the MPC or the music party channel and learns about how kids love parties.
Kids today.
This is basically the scene from The Fifth Element where Lilu types the word war into the computer and learns all about war. I see a bunch of random shots of, Nazis and explosions, and it's great.
It's like the slightly more positive version of that.
Yeah, except it's,
turns evil.
How is this a useful heuristic for this house to use? Type the word fun into Google search and that's how fun is. That's not how it works. Is that what it means? She then accesses Ben's email address book and fun synth music plays when this should really be horrible.
Ben does have email.
Yeah. And apparently everyone in this world does. And apparently the house, Pat, has access to his email. Not okay. I hate that.
It's creepy.
This is why you don't give an AI access to any of your personal information.
It's too late. They already put their fingers in the thing and got pricked.
I mean, yeah, but you have to give them your email password.
Apparently it doesn't stop her from doing anything.
I mean, that's a fair point. The next day, Angie and Ben are mini golfing, and I am confused because they putt from the floor into the wall. screen. Like, the ball goes into the screen. So maybe it's not just a screen. And if it's really this amazing, why are they building that? Why the house? Why house? Like, my only question is, why house?
It does seem like a waste of all the technology.
Right? Like, all technology is worth billions on its own. Why house?
It's like the kind of stuff you invent, you make the money from, and then you decide you're going to put it in a house, and then you sell the house too.
Yeah, or whatever. But like, or just not have the dumb AI house that's inevitably going to turn evil. So Ben is insisting that the dad's date with Sara is not a date.
Sure.
And then Nick goes off to dinner, and while the kids stay up playing the fakest looking video games on the wall that I've ever seen in my life. Ben laments they could be doing something more exciting after he gets his butt kicked 1,000 times in the game by his little sister. To which Pat declares, "Your wish is my command." The doorbell rings and Ben's friends arrive for the party. They tell them that the girls are super excited about the party too, and Ben is so stoked. So he tells Pat to activate some kick-butt video screen to get the party ready. And a boy band concert appears on one screen, and then Ben and his two friends start doing a choreographed dance to the boy band dance. And it's like, what is happening? It's like 30 seconds of them doing a music video for whatever reason. A little dance break in the movie.
And that feels like something that maybe teenage boys wouldn't be doing.
Yeah. You would not be choreographing yourself to like In Sync or whatever as a teenage boy. You'd be too cool for that or whatever. And they just bust it out like impromptu. So they have that locked and loaded.
I'm glad he's got good friends. Sounds like they're all in sync with each other. No pun
Literally.
intended.
Hey-o. Amazing stuff. The doorbell rings again, and we cut to later that night, Angie's acting as a bouncer. Like, literally, like, you're not on the list, go away, girls. Which seems like counterproductive to what Ben wants, which is more girls at his party.
She doesn't want Ben to get a girlfriend.
Because she's afraid she'll take Ben away, like Ben is afraid of the mom.
The family dynamics.
No, because Angie's all for their dad getting some. She's like, yeah, Dad, start dating, please.
Well, with Andy, it's okay, but with her brother, she's got some psychological issues that she needs to work through with the therapist.
You mean Sara?
Yeah.
You said Andy, who's from Toy Story.
What's the girl's name?
Angie,
whatever.
Anyway, the bully, Ryan, shows up, having been personally invited by the house in a way that is no way menacing.
Told you.
Like that, you didn't tell me anything, Danielle.
I just said that they should invite the bully to the house.
But they didn't. The house invited the bully to the house. The house took the prerogative to send an email to that bully. And the bully shows up like, yes, I personally invited Ryan. Come in, Ryan. I want you here. And it's like, oh, Ryan, you should run.
It's funny that he decided he was going to go to the house party of the guy that he bullies, and he didn't think that was going to be a problem.
Absolutely
no way
not.
Suspicious whatsoever.
So cut to later. The party is going well, and it is the most tame party I've ever seen. Just a bunch of kids gentle shuffling while music videos play on the screens behind them. Yeah,
we were wild rager parties when we were 13.
We weren't, but my point is as we'll see later, this is supposed to be played up like your standard teenage shenanigan house party that destroys the house and everything. Uh-huh. And I don't buy it for a second. So while Ben is dancing with Gwen, Ryan cuts in and starts making trouble. Pat then calls Ryan out and gets everyone to say, hey, here's Ryan. Isn't he big and strong? And then starts going I'm going to show you how it is to pick on someone who's 2 stories tall. And she starts trying to electrocute Ryan with lightning. And then a holographic skull flies through the room and her tentacle arm chases Ryan out and threatens to murder him if he ever touches Ben again. And all the other kids just cheer and laugh. So, fun times. The murder house is going to kill our friend.
I mean, he kind of deserved it.
I mean, he did, but also, murder house. Need to remind you.
Yeah, that would be concerning.
And they go back into the party. Amazing.
To be fair, the house did not actually murder anybody. It just threatened it.
Danielle, if your robot was threatening to kill people, you'd be like, that's probably fine.
No, but I'm not 13.
None of these children have any idea. Anyway, meanwhile, Nick and Sara are having a great date, kissing and everything. But Nick is having some trouble not worrying about his kids, but is reassured that at least Pat has watched them and she'll take care of everything.
That is so creepy. They've lived there, a week or 2?
Gotta be.
Why would you put that much trust into your brand new creepy house?
Because no one knows how computers work at this point in time, I guess. Back in the world's most polite party, Ben is the cock of the walk, having a great time, dancing down the middle of the aisle as kids stand either side clapping for him, that kind of thing. Andy goes up to him and is all, hey, Dad will be home in 5 minutes, in case you forgot. And so all the kids scramble out of the party, but not before Gwen kisses Ben goodbye.
Did he say when exactly he was coming home?
10:30, yeah.
What if he came home early? 5 minutes seems like very little leeway.
But apparently, I think like Angie refers to the guy like Mr. Punctual or something, so I guess he has a habit. But I agree with you. I think it's cutting it close.
It's fine. The house would know.
Sure.
Probably tap into Sarah's house or something. Or the restaurants, or I don't know, wherever they are.
They were out like restaurants.
Yeah. It probably taps into the security cameras of the city.
Yeah, it's absolutely watching them every step of the way. It probably like microchip them like dogs so they can keep track of where they are.
That's what the poke actually was.
Yeah. So the kids all scoot. Pat tells Angie and Ben not to worry about the trash, just dump everything on the floor, and then she magics all the way. Like she sucks like chip bags and soda bottles through the floor sucker thing somehow. Like I don't know how it works. It's amazing.
Is there an incinerator in below?
Maybe. I don't know. Is that legal?
I don't know.
You have an incinerator or probably
Does that
burn
matter
trash?
to this person? To Sarah?
Apparently not. And it all just happens just in time for the dad to get home. However, they missed picking up Gwen's jacket, which she left on a plant. Busted.
No. How is the house not smarter than that?
Because it can't use its robot arms to pick things up. It just had to wait for them all to push things onto the ground or something. I don't know.
Seems unlikely.
The house needed it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. It's lecture time, as Nick says. It undercuts his trust in them, blah, blah, blah. But like, that was the kind of party every parent wishes their kids would throw. Totally tame, no mess to clean up. The house isn't trashed or anything. Like,
there's no alcohol.
No alcohol, and no one got pregnant, I guess. So, like,
as far as you know.
Yeah. But my point is, when I was talking about how tame the party was, this is what I'm getting. Like, his reaction, he is super, like, angry. He's yelling at them. I'm like, dude, the party was clearly not that big a deal. Like lying, yeah, all that kind of stuff, but like take it down a notch.
It's the point of the thing. He's got to tell them they can't just have random parties when he's not there.
I don't disagree. I just think, his reaction is way over the top. The kids rat out Pat immediately.
I would too.
Yeah. Who totally cops to everything. She's like, you told me that Ben needed more fun in his life. I'm sorry. And the dad goes off on her like, hey, I need you to be a good influence on my kids. How can I trust you? I'm like, she's a robot, dude. You can't let her raise your children for you. That's bad. That's bad parenting.
It kind of seems like what he wants to do, though.
It is absolutely what he wants to do. Pat promises to be the most responsible maternal figure in the world, to really knuckle down, and starts a search on maternal responsibility while the others go to bed.
Isn't she going to turn against Sarah at some point if Sarah's a threatening figure and mother figure?
Danielle, please, come on, bring it to all of this. The next morning, as Ben is about to leave, Pat tells him to pull up his shorts, and he refuses, and when he tries to leave, she shocks him with the doorknob, like the doorknob is electrocuted or something.
Uh-huh.
And so she keeps shocking him until he finally complies and pulls his shorts up a little bit. I'll remind you that Ben is the one who disabled the safety protocols, so this is really his own fault.
It is his own fault, I agree.
That afternoon, Nick is working and decides to take a break to call Sara, but Pat insists he get more work done before allowing him to make that call. Pat insists that if she's knuckling down, they're all knuckling down. New rule, work first, play later. And like, even though Nick tries to like call on his own cell phone or whatever, it's all blocked by Pat. Like he tries to dial Sara, and Pat answers the phone and says no, and then like hangs up the phone for him.
Creepy.
Yeah. It's like, no house should have this much power.
It's like poltergeist. Get out.
Later that day, Pat then identifies that Angie has a very slight fever and sends her off to bed with chicken soup, and somehow Nick agrees and says that she can't go to the llama farm field trip tomorrow unless Pat says it's okay.
That feels like you're giving, like, I would be cautious about giving her more
authority.
Yes, exactly.
And I do a note, it's amazing how quickly Nick ceded all his decision-making as a parent to Pat just immediately.
He was over it. He's like, I've had to do this a while. I don't want to do it anymore.
He's barely engaged before. Ben was doing most of the parenting, frankly. The next day, Nick has Sara come over to check out Pat. But Sara insists that everything checks out fine. Apparently, she can't notice the safety protocols are disabled.
How would that? What?
Yeah. Apparently, there's no, like, giant red one that says safety protocols disabled. It's like, nah, everything looks good to me. Not a 13-year-old kid just randomly touching things. Can't figure that out.
Terrible.
Oh, this is the worst idea ever. Who greenlit this project?
My respect for Sara is waning.
Sara thinks Pat might be absorbing too much conflicting information, and Nick's all like, welcome to having teenagers or kids. And so she gives Pat the night off by shutting her down for the day.
But does she stay down?
So Nick invites Sara to make dinner with them tonight. And when Ben sees them flirting in the kitchen, he's not pleased. More ominously, when Nick says, "Who needs Pat anyway?" in reference to them making their own dinner, Pat, despite being shut down, somehow hears this and turns back on with a screen that says, "System shutdown override." Why is that a feature? Who put a system shutdown override feature into your amazing house robot? Like, what?
Yeah, it's a stupid feature. Why would you ever need to use that feature ever?
Why would it ever be like, I shut down the robot, but the robot needs to be able to turn itself back on just in case it feels like it really needs to be on? This is Robot Apocalypse, like, easy mode for the robot. This is not even making it hard. So Pat starts freaking out, like, they're going to get rid of me? How they can't replace me? So, we all saw that coming.
Yeah, she's circling the drain here.
At dinner, Ben is being a jerk. And, about
they're not
like
concerned. They're not like,
nope.
Sara doesn't like get up and be like, I'm going to fix this problem.
No, Ben is being a jerk, not Pat.
No, I know, but Pat turned back on.
They don't know that yet, Danielle.
Oh, they don't know it. Okay. So
at dinner, Ben is being a jerk. Like, for instance, Nick offers Ben some peach cobbler. They made it because they knew it was his favorite. Sara helped make it because they knew it was his favorite. He's like, I like Mom's peach cobbler, not Sarah's, or that kind of stuff, and storms off. Nick goes after him, and then they have a talk about how Ben remembers his dad promising he'd never love anyone like their mom, and that no one could replace her. And obviously none of that conflicts with Nick having a new partner or anything like that.
Right, but maybe not in your brain when you're 13.
Right, and something that maybe could have been addressed in grief counseling or something for Ben, which he should have had immediately.
Yeah, you're right. There's been a lot of red flags in this movie thus far.
It's Red Flags, the movie. It's Get Your Kid to Grief Counseling, the movie.
Poor kid.
So Nick goes on and on about how he knows it's hard, especially with puberty, and that he lost her too, but that Ben can't disrespect anyone like that. He wasn't raised that way. And just because he might be dating someone new doesn't mean he forgot about their mom. So finally he gets the message, and that seems to really click with Ben. So, therapy done.
Okay. He seems to think that a lot of Ben's problems are just that he's a teenager versus that he's having any kind of actual, long-standing grief.
I think he thinks it's a problem with long-standing grief that is multiplied by him being a teenager.
Right. And, I mean, even if that's true, which it probably is to some degree, It would still behoove him to be able to talk to somebody about it.
Oh, none of this precludes his need for therapy. I'm 100% on board with that. But apparently this little talk here is all Ben needed. He's out of his funk and is on board with Sara.
Oh, good. I'm glad that's all it took. If only life were that easy.
That's when we cut to Pat, who in the control room opens a side panel in the wall, and this lens comes out, starts shooting a red, green, and blue beam out that starts 3D printing, scanning a hologram replica of her. She looks like Katie Siegel, but kind of dressed up to look like the mom from the home videos, but not quite.
Uh-huh.
And she's dressed like the mom from Leave It to Beaver or Pleasantville or something. It's very much of the sitcom era.
Why is this a feature?
Great question, Danielle. And boy, we're going to get to that. So we cut to Ben doing homework when Pat appears in his room saying, "We have to stop Sara from being too serious about Nick. She wouldn't know a virtual projection from a hologram." And spoiler, I don't know the difference either. Honestly, the movie does not specify. When Ben says, hey, maybe Sara could be good for Nick, Pat goes off about how she's the only one who knows what's best for them. She's been slaving away in a hot control room, working her chips down to the silicon for them, making their lives perfect. Also, they can bring another woman into her domain? Not on her watch.
Okay, crazy lady.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, Ben escapes because Pat is non-corporeal. He can just move right through her.
It does help.
And he runs downstairs to warn Sara and Nick. Nick at first does not believe him, and then Pat appears, and Sara is aghast, since A, she thought she shut her down, and B, she's she must have tapped into the virtual projection system. How? That wasn't a feature you gave her, she just made herself a virtual projection system? How is that a feature? Why is that possible?
Quite literally, everything is a feature.
There's no rules. This house can do literally anything. Pat insists it's time for Sara to leave. She's in fine working order, doing what Sara asks, giving everyone exactly what they need. And then another tentacle claw pops out of the dishwasher somehow and shoves Sara out the door.
Scary.
The doors unlock behind them, and these metal plates slam down in front of the doors and the windows. Why was this house built with a siege mode? Great question.
Just in case.
Amazing question. So Nick goes upstairs to wake up Angie, and they all try to leave, but shockingly, Pat won't let them go. I'm not sure what their plan was, since all the doors and windows are covered with steel plates now, but Pat insists she's doing this to protect them. It's your standard, the more I learned about how awful the outside world is, the more I knew the only way to keep you safe was locking you inside, robot mania from like Asimov or whatever.
What's the plan for like school and when they get older?
They try to argue with her about like, hey, what about school and friends? She's like, well, we can be each other's best friends and we can do homeschooling. I have access to all the information you need. I have all the food we need. There's nothing you need out there that I can't provide you.
Okay, first off, how does she have an endless supply of food?
Danielle, please. Magic house. How does she make a hologram or steel plates slam down in front of all her windows and doors? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's all within the scope of like what this house apparently is capable of. But where is the food coming from? That's where I'm drawing the line.
Okay, that's where you're drawing the line. The very first thing they demonstrate is the thing you draw.
It doesn't make any sense. Where would the food come from?
None of this makes sense.
But this is all within the realm of like a fancy house. Like the food is something that has to come from the outside. Does she have regular deliveries? Like where's the food coming from?
Maybe she has like a hydroponic farm beneath her. I don't know.
Weird.
But then Ben asks, hey, what if we all need you at the same time? There's only one of you. Pat says, ha, no problem. I'm a hologram. She splits herself into many, many more virtual projections.
Yeah, duh.
Which, quote unquote, makes her better than the average mother. And yeah, like, duh. Outside, Sara calls Miles. Remember him? The PR guy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's back, baby. Do not help some more.
It's his whole job.
She asks him to bring some supplies and the house schematics over. So we cut to Butler, the rat, sneaking through the house in the holes in the walls. So apparently the mouse holes are just a feature, not a problem of the house, I guess.
Good, I guess.
The rat finds Ben sleeping on the floor in the living room with Angie. I don't know why. The rat wakes Ben up and gives him a note that reads, Ben, I'll never try to be anything more than a friend to you. Tell me how I can help. Send SOS, care of smartsara.com. That's the note. That's the one note she sent to the house.
Okay.
Is, Ben, I want to be a friend, and here's my email address.
A couple questions. First off,
yes.
How does the rat know where to go?
Yeah. So my first question was how did she know the rat would find Ben and gave him a note just for Ben?
Right.
So same question, basically, yes.
And then my next question is if the house is monitoring and can access the internet, won't it notice that he's using her email? That's
exactly my next question. I said that note is useless. You're the creator of this thing. How is Ben going to be able to solve this problem for you? And B, like you said, the house could block all the phone calls going out. Why do you think it'd stop the internet or whatever?
Yeah, you think you'd give Ben some kind of amazing shutdown code or something that overrode everything.
It's like, Ben, if you can get into this control room and open this port, I can access the, house and shut it down from the outside. But no,
which apparently is not that hard because he's done it before. Like you just walk into the control room.
Insane. Anyway, so we cut to Miles asking Sara if they can't just unplug the house, shut the power off. But Sara says all the power is self-contained in the control room. We didn't think it would ever need to be turned off, which is a ludicrous way to do things. No fail-safes, no way to shut it down. This is a prototype. Untested. Even if it was tested, you gotta have a shut-off, a breaker box, something.
Crazy.
That's when Sara gets an instant message on her computer. I don't remember how telling him to contact her at smartsara.com allowed instant messaging, but here we go.
Maybe there's this messaging on the website itself.
Maybe. I miss instant messaging, Danielle, don't you?
I do, in fact.
Yeah, we're old.
I kind of use it at work, so, there's that.
It's worse there. Anyway.
It is, but you kind of get your fix.
Anyway, my question was, how is Pat letting Ben send IMs like that? And it looks like Ben is hiding in the bathtub with the dog, with his laptop, and that's how he's contacting Sara, which somehow, I guess, confuses Pat. I don't know.
I could see that maybe is in a place that Pat's monitoring, but I would still think just connecting to the internet or sending that email would set some kind of alarm off for her.
You think she'd monitor all the traffic coming in and out of the house and data.
Yeah.
So Ben tells Sara he has a plan, which has to be pretty embarrassing for Sara, that the kid not only hacked her system with ease, which is just, I guess, going to be ignored, but also is just better at her than fixing the thing that she created.
I'd get Ben on her team.
Right? The next morning, Ben starts faking being sick, like, oh, my stomach, oh no, while Sara and Miles wait for the paperboy to come around the corner.
But can't Pat,
No, he's not sick at all by scanning. Yeah, you'd think so, but apparently she just stands there looking confused for a while. And I guess this is supposed to be a distraction, right? Mm-hmm. But, how do you distract a smart house that has cameras everywhere and can see everything all at once?
Yeah. Well, apparently you can get through locked doors, so I don't think it has cameras everywhere.
It's bonkers. So when the paperwork comes and throws the paper, Pat opens up her tentacle port on the front of the house again. And as she does that, Sara runs up and dives through the port into the house.
And the house doesn't notice?
Because it's too busy being distracted by Ben's appendicitis, fake appendicitis.
Well, what, like those two tasks are too much for an AI computer being?
It remembers to open the port and pick up the paper, but does not notice Sara diving inside of it.
I call shenanigans.
Yeah, no, the security in this house is terrible, both physically and electronically.
Yeah, wild.
So Sara uses sneaks through the house and uses a handheld laser to cut through a giant metal bar, locking the door to the control room. Which, where did the laser come from? Where did the giant metal... What's going on in this movie?
Why is there a giant locking bar in the control room when earlier there was just a lock?
A keypad, yeah. Why does she have a hand laser? Why is all the technology she's using to fight the house better than the house itself? Just sell that. Sell the hand laser. However, she's almost immediately busted by Pat as a security breach, and Sara tells Pat that Ben helped her get back in because that's a good thing to tell her. Just rat out Ben, why don't you? But tells her that Ben helped her get back in because he needs her. Sara tells Pat that everyone thinks she's out of control and that Pat's projection grows huge, like doubles in size or triples. And Sara rushes past it and everyone else meets up in the living room, or on the edge of the living room, where the giant Pat starts spinning around and making a tornado in the middle of the living room while singing the Hush Little Baby nursery rhyme for Ben. She's like, Ben, I can be there for you, see? And singing the song while causing a tornado in the living room.
Sure.
Yes,
how come the security triggered when she was trying to get in, but not when Ben got in?
Because she was cutting through the bar, Danielle? I don't know.
How come Ben could just pull off the keypad and get in, and she has to cut through a bar? I'm just so confused.
None of this makes sense, Danielle. Nothing makes sense. Nothing ever makes sense in this house. It's a house of lies. Finally, Ben yells out that he hates her like this, and Pat stops abruptly. Ben yells that she can't be their mother. She's not real. His dad and Sara, they protected him and Angie during the living room tornado, covered them with their hands and body, but Pat can't do that. She can never do that, no matter what, because she doesn't have a physical form. And I'm like, wait a minute, she has the tentacle arms, right? Can't that do stuff?
Yeah, it feels like it can't possibly be outside of her capabilities to create a physical form. Why is that the line that's drawn?
Well, Pat deflates at this and shrinks back down to normal size, confirms she can't actually touch anyone. She tries to caress Ben's cheek and her hand goes right through him.
Aw, poor Pat.
Looking devastated, Pat retreats to the living room again, where it starts raining. A manifestation of her crying, as Angie observes.
Why does it have water feature?
Why does it have tornado feature, Danielle? I do not know. Pat says she'll miss them all very much and disappears, opening all the doors and windows. Did she die? Did she delete herself? Who knows? Cut to Sara in the control room, working away while Nick tells Ben that he hopes he learned his lesson. And honestly, the lesson here is really for Sara and her terrible security practices and giving a robot house way too much control over the occupants.
Yeah, way to blame Ben for something that's barely his fault.
I mean, to be fair, Ben did hack the system and try to make her his mother. But it shouldn't have been that easy for him to do in the first place.
She seemed a little wobbly to begin with. It wasn't like she was perfect to begin with.
Absolutely. Ben even admits how cool Sara is, so it's all hugs and kisses from here on out. Cut to Ben playing basketball out front of the house. He misses, and Pat pipes up with some advice to improve his form. Sara pulls up. They go inside for breakfast, and Nick confirms that Pat had been behaving perfectly in the last however long they've been doing this. So they just said, okay, we're back to using Pat. We'll just do some quick tweaks, safety protocols back in place. No problem.
I'm sure it's fine. It was all Ben's fault anyway for taking away the security features.
Maybe. It's all Sarah's fault for not having them in place in the first place.
Wild.
So the dad even is learning how to cook breakfast so he can take some of the burden off of his son.
His 13-year-old child, yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Dad.
However, it looks like Pat snuck some chocolate chips into the waffle batter since they're Angie's favorite. Everyone's like, where did the chocolate chips come from? Now look, and then Ben says, oh, I think I have an idea. And everyone looks at the screen with the smiling face of Pat on it, and we freeze frame on the image, and they're all looking like, oh, that rascal Pat, as we fade out.
Horror show.
Horror show. Absolute monstrosity. This house is going to murder them all in their sleep one day.
Crazy.
So there's the decom for you, Danielle. Smart house.
Oh, it's a good one. It's very you.
Yes. Very me. And that's about technology and the underlying darkness that girds everything we do on this show.
Good find.
Oh, I'll leave the rest of the decoms to you, but that one felt like I had to take ownership of it.
I do have one or two more in my back pocket that I'm going to use at some point.
I figured.
Just never-ending supply. I really think you could probably do almost any decom and for this podcast.
They're all pretty insane. So Smart House. Any other questions? Because I'm assuming no. Everything worked out perfectly. Logic, sound, airtight.
I don't think you have answers to any of my questions.
I don't think the movie does either, Danielle.
Crazy.
And so to be fair, I enjoyed the movie. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the effects were pretty good outside the robot tentacle arms, but like, the stuff going through the floor, the hologram stuff, solid work for the budget and being 1999.
Right.
So props to that. The camera work was good. The acting was fine. The kids are adorable. It's just absolutely insane what's going on in that movie. Like every decision from the weird corporation decide to build the house and then give it away in a contest, not even for publicity.
For no reason.
Yeah. And not even do like, hey, we're going to do this experiment. We're going to have a family live in this house. Like they pick a family or they pick like a test. They have a bunch of testers who have to live in the house for 2 weeks or something as like a test run, and they're going to film it all, and then they'll graduate to a family next or whatever. No, they go straight to family with no controls. Insane.
It turned out fine, Sam. What are you so worried about?
Oh yeah, fine. Only trapped them there and almost murdered them all.
The bully's leaving him alone now. I feel like it overall was a net positive.
Unless the bully files a lawsuit against the company for making a vicious house that hurt him emotionally and physically.
Who's going to believe that?
Everyone who sees that house. Well, if you out there would live in this smart house, let us know if that's something you would or would not do. I'd be curious to see how the split goes.
Sam is a hard pass.
Yeah, no thank you. I'd like my houses just smart enough to do what I need them to do and not one iota smarter.
I do sometimes wish there was like an antenna arm that like ran around and could be like toilet paper or something if I was in the bathroom. Sure.
A toilet paper robot could be a thing. You don't need to make your whole house smart to do that. Have a single useful gadget, not a multi-purpose gadget that is not good at anything and just steals your blood.
I would take that hologram thing. That sounds cool.
The hologram wall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, everything minus the smart part of the house is the best part of the house. So if you want to send us your opinion on the smart house, you can do that at bookretorts.com.
You can also tweet, Instagram, or Facebook us at bookretorts.
And if you want to fund a Book Retorts themed smart house, I'm sure Danielle and I could program a smart house that's just super good. We'll take great care of you.
Probably won't kill you.
Comes with a built-in dehybridifier.
Sam's pretty good at the stuff like that. I'm good at moral support.
Well, you're also going to be the one training the guard dogs that are just dogs.
Just dogs.
Just dogs. No guards. Just guard dogs.
You know what? Valid use of security.
For that house, absolutely. Anyway, you can do that at bookretorts.com/Patreon.
Yay, Patreon.
And until next time, hey, maybe don't enter every random contest you see on the internet. Just put all your information in forums. It's probably not a great idea.
It may seem to work out fine for them.
All right. Well, so let me know how that goes for you, Danielle. I'll be here.
I'm on it. I'm going to win myself a smart house.
You're just, oh boy, I'm never going to see you again. You're dead. Well, until then, it might just be me. We'll find out next time. Bye.
That'll make Hyperion boring. Take care, everybody.
Ouch.
Watch a crab movie or a shark movie.
Name a crab movie.
There is a crab movie. Crab. There is. It's like a bee movie. It's called Crab. Well,
yeah, I'm not surprised about that. I mean, there's a bee movie for everything. It's not like an actual crab movie.
Crabs, a killer crab bee movie of bit proportions.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's a slugs bee movie, Danielle. That's like saying there's a bee movie that exists.
What is this?
All right, I've lost her. She's down the rabbit hole. Episode's over, everyone.
Wikipedia. Sorry, everybody.
All right, Danielle, close it. We got to get started.
That sounds dumb. I'm going to save this.
That's the story of our podcast, Danielle.
Favorite. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Use that back pocket just in case.